let's get started on match one. So it looks like we're going to be on the draw. I reckon this hand is a mulligan. Graham, what do you reckon?
They're not doing anything unless you draw a land, and you don't really want to risk it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to mull here.
And our opponent keeps. This, I think it's fine. You're relying on the Sensei's Dividing Top to resolve and then seeing what you can do with it. So you're wanting to fetch a basic just in case you're playing against a wasteland to try and leverage the fact that you're going to be a little bit behind because of how you're playing. But otherwise, you've got two counter spells and it seems okay.
And the reason I want to keep this is, once again, it's top. We have a land. We have a little bit of interaction if we need it. Notion Thief is... it's unfortunate to have it in a hand at the moment, I reckon. I'd rather have a draw spell, but it just seems solid enough. Scry to the top?
Yep. We're going to use Time Walk in Explore mode, I think.
Okay, so let's top that.
Actually, that's fine because it means you can play top off the mocks and keep the Misty open for a counter spell if you need.
Fantastic, so let's do that. So, cool. So our opponent's got the same hand as us, just about.
Yeah, okay. We'll see how this goes. It's really weird playing out the Time Walk so early. It means either you've got a hand which is possibly a little bit behind, or that you're trying to ramp into something sooner rather than later. So it might be that he's on Paradoxical or something similar. Misstep that. It possibly means he's on something like Paradoxical and he's just trying to get some value out as soon as he possibly can. But it's a strange line to take.
And what do you think about casting the 8 call there? It seems like that's a little bit early. Maybe it should have been done on our turn to...
Well, the way he's played his hand, he's already played 3 spells, so he's fine to play it, and he doesn't have to discard after doing that. It just really depends on what he's got in hand. It kind of suggests that he's got something that he wants to cast at the moment.
Okay, so I guess we're going to let this ponder resolve. I can't really see any particularly good reason to fight over it, at least not with the Flusterstorm. I think we're better off holding that for something relevant.
Yeah. And I think he's definitely on Paradoxical. But otherwise, that just doesn't make sense. And now we Flusterstorm. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so let's jam this and hope he's really unhappy.
If he's on Paradoxical, it means that he's not going to have any wasteland effects, so we could find to go for the non-basic here. Probably the C.
Okay, so let's go grab a C. So I think there's almost an argument to grab a Vault there just to represent the Pyroblast a little bit later. However, I will defer to Graham's expertise here.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much yet. It just depends. This should be fine. They do have a black mana up, which is a little interesting. I don't know what to get off that. Maybe a VT, but that seems strange as well.
I suspect he was just floating it so that... I think he might be playing a Tendrils build.
Okay, that's fair.
That seems like the most obvious reason.
So upkeep, we want to spin top off Pearl.
Do we want to spin top or do we want to time walk?
You don't
Spin
want
top?
Time Walk.
Okay.
Time Walk doesn't really do anything.
I think we want to take the land, do we not?
But yeah, definitely land.
And...
Ponder after.
Yep.
So it's not too bad here to Time Walk, but the point is, with Time Walk, it's not something you really want to be playing as an explore effect. It's something you want to be playing where you can leverage an advantage. So we can kind of represent something here, but we don't actually have anything. So it's a little bit iffy doing that. At the moment, if we're casting it, we're just doing it so that we can
Ponder next turn, I believe.
we can ponder on the next turn and try and get to some of the gas in our deck because we are a little bit behind on mana. Admittedly, our opponent does only have the 1 card in his hand at the moment. The other thing is if you've got like a Planeswalker or a creature on board and you can use it to attack or activate the Planeswalker, that's where you're going to get the most value. But firing it off as soon as you can, like he did, or even like we're doing at the moment, isn't as good.
I want to draw the brainstorm here and have force on top. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that seems fine. And then later I think we're fine to get the counter spells here. It does mean that we are stuck without mana for the next 2 turns, depending on what's on top of our library, though.
I think that's okay. I don't.
So just see what he does, and then possibly.
So I guess library is very unexciting here. Should we top? I think we should
turn
top.
Yeah.
So we know there's a force of will on there, but I think we want to draw almost anything else. I take that back.
I think you want to draw force.
I think I don't want to draw force. I think I want to draw anything but I think we're a little bit pinched on options here. How do you feel about brainstorming end of turn?
I don't think you want to brainstorm unless you're wanting to do something out of it. So at the moment, he's not threatening anything, and he's playing everything as it comes down. So he's not doing anything that we really care about, except fetching for some reason.
I guess he maybe wants
He's got
to
a Duck Faden. No, it's
wheel.
got a Wheel of Fortune. Hello.
How do we feel about wheel? I don't think we want that to
I
resolve.
don't think anyone wants that resolving.
So
first we want to
I
look
think
at the top
actually-
3 cards of our library.
And I think we actually want to pinch. We want to pitch a brainstorm here to force. I think because we actually, I think,
that's fine. So we
want a notion thief in response to his next paradoxical or similar.
yeah, that seems fine.
So I'm actually going to draw the delta next turn. And we will
Leave the 2 forces on top.
and we're going to hope that he scoops in response to force here.
He's not going to.
We
We're
can
not
hope.
doing anything either.
I think maybe it's worth notion thief end of his next turn.
Yeah, that's fine because it means we're putting pressure on him. Then he has to
Actually
deal with
do
the card
something.
as well before he can do anything else.
Now, how do we feel about drawing force of will off top before?
I think we get more value out of the Sensei's top than we do out of the Notion Thief. It just lets you look at more cards. If we play something that threatens us, though, like the Paradoxical, as you said, I think you draw the force and then play the Notion Thief.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So we use top to draw the force, so we have some interaction.
It's just a question of whether you do it if you cast a spell this turn, or whether you do it, or whether you just wait. And because we're shuffling away the top if we draw the forces all.
We definitely notion thief
Okay,
here.
so we Sensei's top first. Draw the force, and then shuffle that away, and we get the 2 cards.
And we're definitely grabbing a Volk here, as we're going to need some red. At least at some point here. There's almost an argument to not play out the Volk, I guess, to disguise what we're on, because I think this will damn near cripple him.
This is true, but I don't think there's a deck that plays straight blue-black. You're not really representing, you're just hiding what your splash is.
Yeah.
And it's better to have the splash available than it is to not, I would say.
Okay, and he scoops. Okay.
So we're playing Paradoxical.
Mindbreak traps.
Yep.
Do we want a Deluge for Mentor?
Yeah, maybe.
So it's a consideration. I'm going to keep the both Notion Thieves here. If we're bringing in Deluge, I think we want to cut a braid.
Yeah, that seems fine. We're not getting too much value out of the artifact tape, though you can occasionally get them with something like Bifrost if they play everything out.
Although, should we cut the Vamp Tutor and... Okay, so Deluge.
Is there a Mystical Tutor on the list? Sorry, I can't see one.
Okay, so we have 2 cards to cut, so I guess a Vamp Tutor.
Like, it's interesting. I'm not 100% certain how much value you're getting out of Mental Misstep in this particular matchup, just because of the way
It's built very differently, so they have very few 1-drops, right?
Yeah, like, there is the A-Call and probably a VT over there, but it doesn't get as much value, so I wouldn't mind trimming 1. Otherwise, everything else seems pretty fine.
Is a Biforce worthwhile?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So let's do a Biforce and cut a braid in that case.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jess.
And submit. So I think this is actually one of the matchups where I feel like Grixis Thieves is really good. I just think Notion Thief is very hard for them to deal with as long as they're not jamming an early mentor.
You're just playing a really good control deck, essentially.
So I think this is capable.
That's good. I think. Yeah, that seems fine. It's just a question.
I think we turn one Soul Ring. And
yes, it's Soul Ring off with a Delta and then see where it goes.
But I think we have enough interaction in our opener that we can just...
Yeah, it just depends on what he decides to do. Your counter spells are kind of working against each other in that...
It's a little bit of an awkward draw, but it's not...
And one more blue card and you're fine if you draw that one more blue card.
And I feel like we have pretty good odds of finding another blue card here.
In a Grixis deck? Never.
I think it's a blue deck, really, with just like two very light splashes, but... Okay, so it's a land. I think we're actually really good with that, because that's going to leave Painful Truths pretty live here. So we definitely want to be grabbing a C, given the texture of our hand, and we'll jam a Soul Ring. And we don't really care if this gets misstepped. I think also given a hand, we...
The DT here is really interesting in that you can either play it aggressively and try and get something like an Ancestral Recall or something that's going to pull your head, maybe a Chase or Lotus. The other option is that you just hold on and wait until you've got something that you can do with it, and once you've got that, then you can... And that is a live Mindbreak trap.
Okay, so let's just jam the trap here. And we've got a Force backup, which I think we now have to fire off.
Force on the Paradoxical, I think, rather than on the Force.
I think we want to force the Force so that the Paradoxical is exiled.
Okay, that makes sense.
And hope like fuck this resolves.
Yeah, so the other option with the DT is just to wait until you've got something like a...
I mean, we could grab a Fluster?
You've got half of your combo.
Or do we just want to tinker?
Okay, so...
So we have an odd one here where we can...
So what first option is...
So we can Painful Truths for more gas.
So you can Painful Truths for true. You can Demonic Tutor for...
Fluster, maybe?
Well, I would say Voltaic Key.
Okay.
Just think, like, this is just talking through options. So there's...
So I think we key this turn if we...
Play that and then hold the Tinker up in turn, which means that you can do that next turn. You can Tinker this turn and win with Blightsteel and just hope he doesn't do anything, or you can do what you say, which is DT for some form of protection and see what happens.
So Tinker, he needs to draw interaction. He needs to have DAC.
He needs to have DAC, a win condition, or he can't actually cast DAC at the moment, keep in mind.
But he's only made one land drop, so I guess he'd need a land drop and a DAC in 3 cards, because he's going to draw one.
I think we go for the Blightsteel.
Yep.
Why are we fetching?
No, I'd rather just fetch.
Okay.
Let's represent Red Blast here.
Sure. I think the fetch does it better, but sure.
I guess it was unnecessary, but... Alright, and we didn't misclick, so we've successfully cast a Blightsteel for 1 mana.
With Stormcount on 1. And now we see what happens.
So, DAC or bust?
Ancestral. Seems good.
I think that's still okay.
Yep. So now he still needs to get... You can't DAC, so he might have Hercules, he might have Paradoxical.
Hercules, I think, is okay. It doesn't really hurt us that much here. We lost our Soul Ring and we lost a Tinker, but... So I think he's going to Paradoxical.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, Yorks will.
Will Acol again lose?
I think so. So it's going to be pretty tough. So I guess maybe Lotus Hercules or something.
Lotus Hercules works. Yep, okay. And that's a match.
So just one thing here, I don't really believe you'd have Hercules in.
No.
Hercules seems like a very long bow against a Grixis
Hercules,
control deck.
if you're playing Hercules, you're more likely to be playing Hercules so that you can cast it targeting yourself.
Okay, true.
It's not very likely, but
Yeah, I think it's not
the most
particularly
likely
amazing
card.
in
It's the
this.
only card which we could really see here.
All right, well, match one down.